Okay, so we're working with Hamlet again today, and we're into week 3 now with Hamlet. Today we're going to be working on some of the more advanced ground driving routines. You saw me do some of the previous driving exercises, so those would be some of your prerequisites. You'd want to make sure you go through some of those first, just with the 2 lines on the horse. That way you have a far reduced likelihood of getting in trouble. If the horse were to get beside themselves, you're not committed with your reins attached to your horse, solid. But now we're going to take things to the next level. So this will be a more advanced pre-ride type training. If your horse was real bad to bolt or to panic or to want to run off, or maybe your horse is a chronic bucker, maybe you're too scared to get on your horse, this will be something you can go through and work through some skills to get better. Ground driving is extremely beneficial because essentially it's the best you're ever going to ride, because you can see all 4 feet. You can see what's taking place instead of having to essentially feel what's taking place on the horse. So then when we go to ride later, all we have to think about is we're driving the horse from their back. Whereas on the ground, we're thinking about we're riding from the ground. We've been riding from the ground the whole time when we're doing our basic halter work. So everything leads up to this point. So this is the culmination of our groundwork right here. Best you're ever going to ride. So I've got Hamlet outfitted in a snaffle bit without any reins attached. So we're going to go and attach our reins here right now. So I'll put my slobber straps on. We've got one rein. Tie this on with a sheet bend knot, just like I tie my halter right up there. Good. Now I'm going to take this. You notice I've tied my stirrups together with a little progress string. Now I'll take my rein, run it through my stirrup, place it over my horn just like this. And I'll do the same thing with the other side. So some prerequisites that you want to have in place besides some of the previous driving exercises that you'd already seen. A couple things is you'd want to have your horse get to where they can back just off this slobber strap right there. That way the horse understands how to give to that pressure. So that's nothing new to him. And a secondary type exercise that you'd want to be able to do, it's where you can take your halter rope here, take it up over top of the horse's cantle. So I'd call this the over the cantle exercise. Now I can take that and lead the horse across. Good. So the horse can understand that. That's not a problem. At this point, I'll go ahead and secure my lead rope. I'll just leave the halter on for this. I'll just tie that off to the horn. So to start off with, we're going to get to where we can ask him to go forward and then roll his hind quarter left and right.
So now in the beginning, it will be extremely beneficial to start in a round pen. That way the round pen acts as a safety net you can use. So essentially, if things go haywire, you've already done some good round penning fundamentals where you ask your horse to go forward, left and right, stay on the rail. Essentially, if things go haywire, all you have to do is just go back to your round penning basics. So you're essentially round penning your horse while they're packing driving lines on. But then later on, you can start building in some control here. I've established a circle. I'm in sort of an imaginary round pen here. Now what I'm going to do is getting prepared. I'm going to tip his nose to the left, roll his hind quarter to the right. There we go. Now we switch directions, nice and smooth. So now the only difference here between when I had my reins on with just a halter, just the 2 lines with no saddle, is that now I've added a snaffle bit. So now we can talk to the left side of the horse, the right side of the horse. We can ask the horse to bridle up and get soft. Watch me tip the nose to the right, roll the hind quarter to go left, and just like that. So now I'm going to ask him to go forward to a trot here. Now I'm going to stay in the same position that I was working on my halter lead rope. The only difference is now I'm in that horse's mouth. So I've got running rein and a teaching rein. I can massage this black teaching rein here, asking for position. So in my opinion, there needs to be a set of reins attached to the end of the rein. Good. Now I'm going to get back. So I'm sitting back behind the horse, walking behind the horse in the horse's tracks here. I'll ask him to trot. Good. We'll come across the diagonal. Good. Switch directions, nice and smooth. Ask him to trot here. staying in the buggy, trying to walk in the same tracks the horse's tracks we're landing in. There we go. Now transition down to a walk, nice and smooth.
Okay. So I hope you got something out of this little short video. This is just kind of a real brief demonstration of sort of the process. You can see there's be a tremendous amount of benefit for a horse to kind of go through this, particularly if they had some real problematic issues, bucking, bolting, wanting to rear up and flip over. So if a horse has gone through some of those things, I might be taking him this far before I'd go and ride one of those horses, because I'd want to give the horse the chance to work through some of those issues without me being up on their back, essentially. So, and it's also extremely beneficial to go through this process yourself and learn some of these steps, because there are a lot of parallels to riding here. This is the best you're ever going to ride. You can see all 4 feet, you can see where you're directing those feet, and see where the horse is lining up. Later on, when you go to ride, just think about driving it from the top of their back. So if you have a horse where you're scared to ride, or if you have a horse that's a little too green to ride, or a horse that's too young to ride, taking them through this process will be real beneficial for you. But make sure you go through your prerequisites. So, we're working with Hamlet today. This is his 9th session. Hamlet's moving a little further in his development, so we're going to be working on some riding patterns with him. This pattern I'm going to be working on is called a bullseye, and it's designed to help to teach the horse how to do nice, accurate circles. I use a barrel in the center. That way it acts as a resting place for the horse, as well as a point of reference to help determine my circle size. I don't want to be getting egg shapes and squares and all that kind of stuff. So, and I'd like to see if the horse can shape their body according to the size of the circle that I'm riding. So if I'm riding to the left, I want the horse to be like my right hand going to the left, not like my left hand going to the left, bent the wrong way. So I'd like to use my seat and my leg to help do this. So I'm going to be riding with sticks, and that will help block the horse. If the horse were to go the wrong way, I can help to steer. Later on, when I dress the reins, I'm going to go into the mount and refine component of this pattern, and that's where I ask the horse to bridle up and to give me vertical flexion. People ask, what is the benefit of doing this with sticks, or what is the benefit of doing this on a loose rein? Well, the idea is that you're trying to get more effective with your legs. You're trying to get to where you can do more with your legs, so that way you can do more with your reins. If it took all the aids necessary to ride such a simple pattern as a circle, you'd never get to advanced riding because you'd run out of aids before you ever got to it. So we need to get to where we can ride these basic patterns with just our legs. I'm going to use the stick as simply a support system.